4 people are behind bars in connection to the death of a 3-year-old girl who died from abuse. At just before 4 a.m. on Saturday the 13th of January, 33-year-old Kerri-Ann Santos arrived at the University of New Mexico Hospital with her 3 young children, including an unresponsive 3-year-old girl who was wrapped in a blanket. Kerri-Ann said she left Massachusetts and was traveling through New Mexico and noticed her daughter was sick. She said she stopped by a gas station in Albuquerque so her daughter could use the restroom, but she fell from the toilet and injured herself. She said she started driving again and followed signs and drove to the hospital. Hospital staff determined the 3-year-old girl was deceased upon arrival and called police. Authorities were suspicious of the story Kerri-Ann provided and noted the girl had several bruises on her body that were in different stages of healing. She also had ligature marks across both ankles as a result of the signs of abuse. Albuquerque Police Department's Crimes Against Children detectives were called to investigate. Detectives worked through the day and that night to determine the circumstances that led to the child's death. They placed the other 2 children on a 72-hour hold with the Children, Youth and Families Department. They also learned from law enforcement in Massachusetts that there were multiple police reports of domestic violence and an investigation by Child, Youth and Families Department about suspicion of Kerri-Ann using drugs around her children. A forensic interview was conducted on the older sibling of the deceased child, and detectives learned that 2 other adults, 46-year-old Christina Pena-Cantor and her son, 28-year-old Austin Bing, drove with Kerri-Ann and her 3 children to Albuquerque. Detectives also discovered the children, including the 3-year-old girl, were sexually molested. Detectives learned that one of the adults would tie the 3-year-old girl at the ankles and wrists with shoelaces. The 2 families arrived in Albuquerque in recent days and stayed in an apartment with another man, James Welch. Kerri-Ann eventually told detectives the abuse and injuries to the 3-year-old girl occurred at James's residence. Detectives secured a search warrant at James's home at 2103 Gold Avenue Southeast, collected evidence and subsequently arrested Kerri-Ann, James, Christina and Austin. Kerri-Ann's been charged with 2 counts of child abuse resulting in great bodily harm, 1 count of child abuse resulting in death, and tampering with evidence. James, Christina and Austin face 2 counts of child abuse. All 4 are being held without bond at the Bernalillo County Jail. The investigation into the matter continues. 50-year-old Thomas Delgado is behind bars and is accused of murder, rape and kidnapping during a home invasion in 2013. Authorities said they were able to identify Thomas as one of 2 masked men who broke into 48-year-old Joseph Canizara's home at 321 Swartley Road in Hilltown Township, Pennsylvania at just after 6 a.m. on the 18th of January 2013. The men entered the home through the window of the master bedroom and were armed with handguns and bound Joseph and his fiancée with zip ties. After Joseph's 12-year-old son entered the bedroom, one of the men put a knife to the boy's throat and bound him with zip ties as well. The men then led Joseph through the house, ransacking it, taking guns, money, jewelry and other items. One of the suspects, later identified as Thomas, raped the woman while she was tied up on the floor. The suspects then took off with Joseph's 2006 black pickup truck. Shortly after the men left, the woman managed to free herself and then the boy from their restraints. She hid the boy in the basement and went looking for Joseph, but was unable to find him. She tried using a cordless phone to ring 911, but the phone was dead. She then drove the boy to a friend's house so she could call police. When officers arrived at Joseph's residence, they found him laying face down in the garage with his hands still bound, dead with multiple stab wounds. Joseph's pickup truck was later found abandoned behind a restaurant at the Quakertown Plaza shopping centre. Police obtained surveillance footage from the shopping centre parking lot, which showed that shortly before 10 a.m. that same morning, the suspects were seen moving stolen items from the bed of the pickup to the red Nissan sedan parked next to it. Both men then got into the Nissan and drove off. DNA recovered from a mask found in the stolen truck as well as from a rape kit from the sexual assault were linked back to Thomas. Authorities said the attack was a targeted one. A warrant for Thomas's arrest was issued in December of 2023. On Wednesday the 10th of January 2024, the US Marshals Fugitive Task Force located Thomas in the 2600 block of Collins Street in Philadelphia and arrested him. He faces 28 felony charges including homicide, rape, robbery, burglary, kidnapping, criminal conspiracy and other related charges. He remains held at the Bucks County Correctional Facility with bail denied. Investigators said that at the time of the killing, Joseph owed millions to creditors, including several casinos, and detectives said that cell phone records indicate that he had been in touch with Thomas several times in 2011. Authorities said that the female victim reported that the larger of the 2 men, who they identified as Thomas, told the couple who had been staking at the house for weeks from the nearby woods, "We know you have the money, just give us the money," he said. District Attorney Jen Shawn said it would be wrong to call this a cold case, These detectives have spent more than a decade seeking justice for these victims. Like they always do, detectives never relented in the pursuit for justice, and now were able to announce an arrest. Police said they are still working to identify the second suspect. The investigation into the matter continues. A 38-year-old man is behind bars for abusing a child. On Friday the 12th of January, authorities arrested a former Jeffersontown paramedic in Louisville, Kentucky. Marshall Alexander Atherton is charged with rape, incest, sodomy, and 2 counts of sexual abuse of a victim under the age of 12. Marshall was held at the Shelby County Detention Center on a $100,000 bond. Jeffersontown Fire Protection District Chief Sean Dreisbach said that Marshall resigned from the department on the 7th of December 2023 and is no longer associated with them. Marshall's scheduled to be back in court on the 6th of March. The investigation into the matter continues.